Welcome here to a very special wake up call with Dan Tortora, spotlighting the move for FAU to the AAC. And FAU, Florida Atlantic University, the Owls have come off of a lot of success, and very recently here in the men's NCAA tournament have brought so much excitement to do everything that they've done this year to make history upon history upon history at FAU, and to really let you all know what it's like to win in paradise, which is something that I've been speaking about with the gentleman that's picture in picture with me for a couple of years now, Vice President and Director of Athletics, Brian White. It seems insane that 2 years ago we started to have our conversations, but I mean, how does welcome to the show first and foremost, Brian, but does it feel like it's been 2 years since the announcement on my birthday that you were joining the American Athletic?
No, it really doesn't. And it's funny to hear you say that because I mean, 2 minutes ago I wouldn't have thought it was 2 years ago. I mean, it's hard to track, how quickly these last 2 years have gone, in our anticipation and really ramping up to get ready for this opportunity here in a couple days.
Yeah, and seeing this July 1st, it's a big day for realignment, right? Whenever we see a move happen, we see the July 1 date, be it 10 years ago or be it now. And so on July 1st, 2023, FAU, along with Rice, UNC Charlotte, UTSA, North Texas, and UAB will all be joining the American Athletic Conference. What what goes through your mind here with just a few hours left before it's officially official and that move has been solidified?
Candidly, I mean, at this point, it's a formality. So, I mean, it's more. I'm more getting ready for fall sports and just working to get better as a department every day. But the July 1 versus July 2 versus June 30th, I don't know that it's more of a symbolic. It's meaningful in that we're just thrilled to be entering into this conference. But I can't say that it has much more meaning than that.
Yeah. I mean, and in the last couple years, almost 2 years, because the decision October 21st, 2021, and I said something to you jokingly about thanks for giving me a birthday gift, and you said, yeah, we got all the paperwork ready and did everything we could do to make sure that it was on your birthday. So I do appreciate you joining me in that kind of just fun. I'm going to call it a God incident on my side that happened. I've covered the American since its institution, and get to see FAU from afar and then closer and closer out of these last couple of years. Hindsight 2020, as you join the American, why has this been, to you, the right move at the right time for this university? I know we've discussed different things, but you've had a lot of time to reflect on it. So I'd love to get your updated thoughts on why it continues to be what you consider the right step for FAU.
I guess first of all, I want you to know I actually made a personal sacrifice because my birthday is October 20th, the day before. So we had it all set to go on mine. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this for Dan. We're going to wait a day.
Right.
So I just want you to know it was a personal sacrifice. But no, why is this a great move for us? I mean, Florida Atlantic, is just a university wide, not just athletics, a young brand, in many ways like the American. And there's just so many similarities with tremendous potential. I always feel like we've punched above our weight, and we have the ability to be really, really competitive nationally. And we've shown that with our recent men's basketball run, and I'm very confident you'll see that in many more sports into the future at Florida Atlantic. And I think the American is a perfect home for us with like-minded institutions, highly ambitious, great academic institutions, and places where I think have much brighter days in their future than maybe in their past because we're just a young institution.
When you look at that youth of your institution comparative to other, schools out there, just what you could say about that history and what you've done in such a short amount of time, which includes this trip by the men's basketball team to their first ever Final Four.
Absolutely. By many metrics, when we were the first team, I think we were one of the fastest teams to join FBS and go to a bowl game. And there's a lot of those key metrics where we hit the ground running under Howard Schnellenberger with our football program. We've been able to recruit big name coaches over the years. We've had a lot of success in baseball, softball, beach volleyball, back-to-back conference championships in that sport as well. And that's a very young sport nationally as well as at Florida Atlantic. So, I just think we're in a tremendous recruiting area. I know we've discussed about it before, but we're 3 miles from the Broward County line. We're in Palm Beach County. And I believe the statistic is 70% of the D1 athletes from the state of Florida come from Broward, Palm Beach, or Dade County. So we're in really the hotbed of the hotbed in terms of recruiting. And we have tremendous wealth in this community, tremendous potential in this community to be the hometown team. It's a great place to come visit and recruit internationally too as well. So we just think we have so many built-in advantages. And probably the reason, I think when we talked a couple of years ago, I may have said the reason we're not a household name yet. I feel like we are a household name now with the recent success. But part of the reason why, we weren't a household name when we first started talking was just because of our youth, because we haven't been around for 100 years. But I think the longer we compete, the more successes we're going to have. And I think we just have unlimited potential here. I really do.
When you and I first spoke, we spoke about the hashtag that you use at FAU, winning in paradise. That was something that when you said it to me, it was new to me. And now, as I've come to know you and I've come to know your programs and obviously paid a lot more attention over these last couple of years to what FAU is doing, winning in paradise, it really honestly, it's something that caught on back then, but the world has gotten to see it more now. And, I look at that. I love that hashtag, because who doesn't want to be in paradise and who doesn't want to win? And when you put them both together, winning in paradise, I want to reflect on that hashtag and its growth over time, because I think it's I do. I feel like once you put that up there, people automatically want to say, well, that sounds like positive upon positive. So what's it all about?
Absolutely. I think we're really, really proud of where we are. Obviously, we're proud of our location. If you watch one of our football games or our basketball games, you see something on the football field or on the basketball court, a big sign that says 1.8 miles to the beach with a directional pointer. I think we're proud of where we are, but part of that is our community's proud to be here. Our community is very proud of how beautiful this area of the country is. Yeah. And then, with that, I think it works in recruiting, because if you're somewhere cold and in a different weather climate, you certainly like to think about going to paradise and winning in paradise. We've had many of our coaches who have come here, I know have really in all sports adopted that in their recruiting as well. So I think it's a point of pride into our geographic location, but also our campus is beautiful. You can see the ocean from the football stadium. Our student athletes able to go to the beach on the weekend, and it's something we're very proud of. And then obviously we want to win at a very high level. We've done that. We'll continue to do that. We think our built-in advantages with the recruiting down here, and with a university that has unlimited potential as well, but also a university that believes in the power of athletics and believes that we can grow and improve the whole university through athletic success.
How do I've heard other athletic directors speak on it can't all be about athletics, but we feel like we have to be a great partner to the university, right? It can't be athletic dominant. We want people to come here to get a good education, but we believe that, with what we do and being the face of, when you are the Owls and you have that on the athletic side and you have success on the athletic side, that you can be that great kind of mile marker to set yourself apart where people can see you, and may have that visibility. So how does athletics help academics, and how does the athletic department at FAU really give back to the university as a greater whole?
I think for us, both things complement each other. And that is the reason we exist. The reason you have Division I athletics is to be the marketing arm, to be that exposure piece for the university. Otherwise, if it was just about competing in athletics, you might have Division III sports, you might have intramural sports, rec sports. But the reason to, I think, invest in Division I sports and hopefully have games on national television is to provide that exposure for the university. So we use a company that estimates the equivalent ad exposure for the media that our teams create amongst their success. And just one small example is during our Final Four run, the number from March to April 4th, just during the tournament throughout the Final Four, was 1.9 billion in equivalent ad exposure we would have to spend if we wanted that much national exposure provided to the university. So and that number's been significant every year, and that's part of Division I sports. That's the goal, is to provide positive exposure through positive athletic success. So there's that piece for sure. Also you look at, we have 450 student athletes, and our student athlete cohort is actually extremely positive for the university's academic metrics. Our student athletes average over a 3.0 GPA. They graduate at a higher rate than the general student body because it's a highly disciplined group. They're up for early morning workouts, and yet they're still getting their coursework done better than somebody that may not be an athlete. So I think we're not only intrinsically positive in that our student athletes are great students and contribute to the mission of the university, but just as probably more importantly, we have the exposure we provide the university. That positive exposure is something the university couldn't otherwise buy.
Coming here from VP and Director of Athletics at FAU, Florida Atlantic University, Brian White, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, as we move FAU into the American Athletic Conference. And when you came in, like you said, you had been in the office for maybe a couple weeks, and you had to find a new men's basketball coach, and you got Dusty May. He's all right. And then, now here you are leading into a new conference with new exposure opportunities and a way for you to progress, to move onward and upward. In your short amount of time of being the VP and Director of Athletics at FAU, to come in and make the move on Dusty May, and to be here today, and, over these last almost 2 years, agreeing to and preparing for the move into the American, you have had no small task, but it looks great on your side. And I'd love to get your thoughts on
it. I'm sorry, I lost you for a minute.
Okay. I was saying that, to see what you did when you came in your first couple of weeks, and hiring Dusty May, to making a decision with obviously your team and the school itself to move into the American Athletic Conference. Just what you could say about, in a short amount of time, being a part of so much history in hiring the right people and hiring so quickly like Dusty, and at the same time to make a move onward and upward to the American, where you believe there's going to be more opportunity for all of your programs.
Oh, I'm just so excited. So fortunate to be at a tremendous place and represent a tremendous university, and to have really good people around me. That's, as we all know, that's what it's all about, to have really good people around you. Yeah. So I'm just, I do feel like, you mentioned making history. I do feel like the not only the men's basketball run was pretty incredibly historic, but just the successes around the athletic department. The entering the American Athletic Conference is just a great time for Florida Atlantic, the whole university, as well as athletics, and the school pride is unlike anything I've ever seen. Just with, I think there's been, just the student attendance has been through the roof, and our young alums and really all of our alums, the excitement that we've had over the last few years, but really the last few months, most recently, has been at an all-time high. So I just feel like I'm at a special place at a special time, and extremely fortunate to be here.
And when you look at your team, people besides yourself that maybe don't get the, notoriety publicly, who do you want to thank when you look at the people that have been around you as these moves have been made? Because you're, a figurehead to FAU, and you're someone who answers a lot of the questions, but there's obviously a group of individuals that are working together toward a common goal. Who has been such an asset for you at FAU, and such a big part of these positive moves?
I don't want to risk naming names because I'll forget somebody that is very deserving, but I'll say, we have, starts at the top. We have a tremendous board of trustees, tremendous university leadership, amongst all of our vice presidents. I serve on the president's cabinet as a vice president. Tremendous leadership at the presidential level, but really all other vice presidents have really been tremendously helpful. And Then we have, my staff. We've been able to recruit some really good people here, and there was also some really good people here before I ever got here and arrived. And then the coaches in place. We talk about the academic success as well as athletics. Well, our coaches prioritize academics on the recruiting trail. We recruit student athletes that want to have both academic and athletic success. So we have I wouldn't trade our group of coaches for any in the country. And many of them, have been here a long time and have had a lot of success. And I think that, they're a huge part of the future success we can have.
I have to make mention of the football coach that you hired, Tom Herman. Got to know him when he was at Houston, and he got used to when we were doing the teleconferences, me being his first question. So I look forward to the fact when I get to see him again. I'm sure there'll be a smile and a good back and forth between the two of us, because I always appreciated everything he did with Houston during the men's basketball tournament this past season. With all the success, we saw Tom Herman. We saw him striking up the band and doing some things. Saw you on television right there by him. So, what can you say about Tom Herman? And when you talk about your coaches, just what he brought to the table, why you wanted to hire him, and why you have a belief that he'll be successful here in the American, where he once was successful before with Houston.
I mean, I think it's fairly easy to see why you'd think he'd be successful. I think he's number 16 in the country among active head coaches in terms of winning percentage. He's won everywhere he's been. He was a tremendous offensive coordinator, obviously, national offensive coordinator of the year, won a national championship, um, undefeated in bowl games. You could go on and on about his resume. But I think working with him closely, you see that on top of all of that, on top of just being an objectively really good football coach and knowing football really well, he didn't have to come back and coach Florida Atlantic University. He could have stayed on, CBS and called a few games and probably had a much easier quality of life. But he loves it. He loves it. His passion for coaching and competing, I think, is second to none. And our players see that. Our players have, the feedback from not only our players that have been here before, but new players, but also the staff. There's been a lot of staff that are here that were here before, and they love working with them. And I just think I think we all believe that he's going to lead Florida Atlantic into an unprecedented level of success on the football field, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun to watch.
What does it mean to you to be a part of the American now, where they're going to have the most football membership that they've ever had with 14 member institutions? We know Navy's there for football only. Everybody else that's in for football is a full-time member, and obviously Wichita State's there for all sports but football. So when we look at 14 in total, and we see the southern middle part of the country, the southeast part of the country, and then in that middle region, as we come up the coast, and obviously Navy and Temple in the more northeastern part, just what you could say about being a part of the conference at this time with the most membership that they've ever had and the quality of membership that they have.
You know, I for us, I mean, I think that the timing couldn't be better for Florida Atlantic University and the American. I think that it's like I mentioned earlier, it's a whole bunch of schools with incredible potential, and I think schools in great metro areas like we are in, that I think will continue to build on the success the American has had. So we're just thrilled to be a part of it.
The final point: FAU USF, you have this opportunity for that Floridian rivalry. UCF is leaving, so there's two schools in Florida now. Just what it means to represent the state of Florida and to have that rivalry you're going to have every single year with USF, and football creating a schedule to make that possible.
It's huge for us. Congrats first of all to USF on their membership as an AAU institution. Just a great university with some really good history of success, and we're very excited to compete with them in all sports. I have a lot of respect for Michael Kelly and the job he does up there, and I think it's for us, we're thrilled to be competing with them annually in all sports. I know our fans are excited too. I think their fans will be too, to be able to travel the games back and forth. And so I think that's a huge positive for us.
From Boca to Tampa, big things coming up and a lot of great stuff overall. Last note, what do you want people to know about this move to the American? What do you want your FAU supporters to know about this moment?
I think for us, everybody's very excited to become a member of the American Athletic Conference. But most importantly, we all know, and I think our fans already know this, but to reemphasize that we're entering the conference not looking to compete. We're entering to win championships, and really in year one. So we want to be, not just a member. We want to compete for championships early on.
That coming from Brian White of FAU. Brian, as always, I appreciate it, and officially, I can say it now. Welcome to the American.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan.
Take care.